that comes around from InterNACHI. We've got a plethora of ideas for you. You have 1,000 things that you can do, 1,000 recommendations. Some of them are as dumb as this, right? You have to look at your phone to open it up. If it doesn't work for you, forget about it. It's probably only going to be a handful of things, really good ideas that work for your business, right? And one of them is pricing. How are you going to price your services so that you're in demand, making a ton of cash? Because that's why you're here. You're going to build a home inspection business, be in business for one main reason, to make a ton of cash. It could be like completely different from my experience. My experience is you can make $600, $700, $800 on one inspection. Down in Florida, it may be a smaller dollar value, but high volume. So you have to figure out what you want to do with your business model, right? So just because I'm talking about the way I do things, that may not fit the way you want to do things, right? And your homes down there are different from cold climate homes. Like we've got things like we burn oil, we burn wood, we have chimneys and fireplaces and basements and crazy things like that. So my idea is to kind of welcome you to class. Make sure you are doing two things in the next 5 days. You're making sure that you get all of your questions answered, right? And we have Miranda and Jasmine down there for that, and all the other instructors who are with you. And make sure you inspect the house floors. If you're new and you want to practice performing an inspection, there's a house right in front of you, right? Inspect it 10 times before you leave on Friday. The first time you go through is going to suck. The 10th time you're going to go through is going to be much better, especially if you're learning software. If you put your software in your hand, like I've got Spectora software on this device, and I can show it to you if you want. You want to take a look. Or any kind of software. If you're using a laptop, a PC, a mobile device, something, practice crashing and burning on the house, right? And then inspect your home and inspect your neighbor's home, inspect your friend's home, your family's home. Make sure your entire neighborhood, your street, your cul-de-sac, wherever you live, knows that you're the expert home inspector, right? That's free marketing. To having other people know that you're in business and you're good, you're ready to go, that's free marketing. That's a pretty good idea. Actually, that's one of those not so dumb ideas. So what I want to do is I inspected this home in Pennsylvania, cold climate home, has a basement, and I'm going to go through how I perform a home inspection, because that's the funnest part of being in business. It's actually the home inspection process is really fun. What's really difficult is running a successful business, thinking of yourself as a business owner who just happens to perform home inspections, right? And so you're in this room right now, you're with people who are just like you, or maybe you can learn from them. And that's the whole point of being with other InterNACHI members and other home inspectors, to learn from them. Everybody's boat rises up. And the leaders of the industry, especially InterNACHI members, the certified master inspectors who are in the room right now, they're the leaders and they're pushing the envelope up, right? And so you want to learn from them. That's a great resource. Learn from other master inspectors. We could talk about anything. So again, please interrupt me if you want to talk about any of this stuff. How to perform an inspection is really straightforward. What's difficult is all the other stuff. How do you write reports with software, business strategies, time management? How are you going to do 4 wind myths today, right? You gotta keep going. Do you hire inspectors or employees? Is there someone answering the phone for you? You don't know how many home inspectors InterNACHI staff calls and no one answers. No one answers the phone. It's incredible. It's incredible. So don't make that mistake. That's another one of those good ideas. You have to answer the phone. You either do it yourself, excuse yourself and answer the phone, right? Because you're taking care of your client base, or you hire somebody. That's a big decision to hire someone. I did it. It's difficult to get that decision processed, to hire someone to answer the phones and then do the office stuff and the taxes and all the other things, maybe running around a little bit. Or you hire somebody like America's Call Center who can answer the phone for you. You got to answer the phone. Branding, marketing, websites. If you don't have a website, I'm not going to hire you. I mean, I don't go to a movie unless I watch at least 2 trailers. I don't eat anywhere unless I visit the website, right? If you don't have a website, forget it. Yeah? Question? Nope, good? Okay. Calculating profitable fees, different animal in Florida. Florida is very different, and you're probably surrounded by some inspectors who can tell you how to do a successful pricing of your services. Handling complaints, standards, if anything you want to talk about, I'm ready to roll. Some recent news, InterNACHI is accredited as a post-secondary institution. It's like a university from the U.S. Department of Education. We actually provide a home inspector certificate program that's accredited nationally. And you can get actual CEUs from InterNACHI that you can transfer to any other university. So that's really, if you're still wondering about what school you're in or what organization you should join, join one that's accredited. And there's a URL. So if you have a pencil and paper or pen and paper, or you're good with taking notes, you can write down some URLs. This one is just where you find accredited colleges, and InterNACHI is on that government website. Now, we've had some issues in the past, so this is the dumb slide that I have to go over, but we expect appropriate behavior from all the students. You must be a professional, behave in a professional and courteous manner, treat staff and other fellow students respectfully. We're not going to tolerate any kind of sexual harassment, racist or offensive remarks, or disruptive behavior. We may require you to leave the premises, and if you refuse, we'll probably call the cops. Or maybe I'll just fly down myself and I'll help. All right. So here's a URL you want to write down, nachi.org/members only. This is the portal through which you access everything that InterNACHI has to offer. We've updated your dashboard. At the top of the dashboard, there's information, important information. If there's like an event going on or something important within your account, like your credit card needs to be updated or something, that's going to be in there, okay? Don't let anything lapse. Just put it in your calendar. Once a month, log into your account and make sure everything's okay. /education and NACHI TV is where you go for online education. So if you want to diversify your services, don't be just a home inspector, but be a home inspector who does mold, mold, wind mitts, 4 points. Those training programs are at nachi.org/education. We've got videos of Michael and Dennis on NACHI TV. One will be on there too. One's going to be one of your instructors. And your main state page for all of your state-specific information is nachi.org/Florida. And if you haven't visited nachi.org/Florida, do it tonight as homework. Let me just show you real quick what's on it. Because someone just last night emailed me. So there's a ton of information. This is the Florida page. You scroll down, how to become a home inspector, Florida license exam, how to become a certified home inspector through InterNACHI, additional certification, continuing education. I'm a licensed, Florida licensed home inspector, a Florida licensed home professor as well. I take all of my CE through InterNACHI because it's online and free. And I take the same course every time, okay? Very easy to renew your license. It's all DBPR approved, continuing education as well. Now, if you don't want to take the same course over again, we have plenty of others, other courses. If you need insurance, we have a section for insurance. If you want to do mold inspections, wind mitt inspections, WTO inspections, 4-point inspections. We have a Florida home maintenance book, which is one of those good ideas. Here's a Florida home maintenance book. Doesn't have any basements or oil fired furnaces or fireplaces in here. And it's specific to the state of Florida about how to maintain a home. And there's chapters in here about 4-point inspections. And at the beginning of every chapter in this Florida home maintenance book is a reference to the standards of practice that helps reduce liability. It helps set the expectations of your clients. It's essentially a book, a 100-page full-color book that says, I've done the inspection. Everything that happens after this moment in time is your responsibility. That's what this book does. It gives the responsibility of future events like future roof leak or future mold growth to the homeowner, your client. It's no longer your responsibility. And that kind of helps out. And there's other things. So go to nachi.com/. That's a great URL. Oh, what was the other thing I want to share with you? Oh, I bought a new FLIR camera. I don't know if you use infrared camera. I don't know if you use infrared in your inspections or you're planning on it. Back when I was doing inspections, I bought a really expensive camera. This one would probably be $5,000. Now it's $300. It's not that great. It's from it's an HTI. Inspector Coach sells it. But this helps. This is one of those ideas that help you do a better job using infrared, and it also helps you differentiate yourself from your competitors. So maybe you're in a market where you need to beat somebody in the market, right? Maybe you're actually a competitor with Michael. And I can't remember, Michael, if you use infrared or not, but maybe if you wanted to beat Michael in the marketing strategy, right? You say, well, I'm going to add a little extra value that Michael doesn't by using an infrared on every inspection. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But for sure, infrared helps you perform a better inspection, especially in Florida. What other things? We'll get to them later. Oh, so performance inspection is fairly straightforward. Everything you need to know about performance inspection is in this class. There's a house right in front of you, and all the education that you need is online and free. What's really difficult is everything else, and it's high risk, but you're in business to take on that risk because the reward can be fantastically great. You're in business not to be busy. You're in business not to have a good job, not to have something to do today, right? You're in business to make a ton of cash. And that sometimes takes a lot of risk. So let me give you a little stat. 1/3 of all home inspectors out of business within 2 years. So look around the room. I hear there's 9, 10 people. 1/3 of you are not going to be here very soon. 1/3 of you are going to be in the middle. And 1/3 of you are going to do really well. That's the average. Now, maybe you're all going to be doing really well, and that'd be fantastic, and I would applaud you. But there's a lot of turnover in the industry, and I believe it's because of this. That a lot of inspectors think if I just get the training and I know how to do inspection, I'll be successful. And I just want to tell you that's not to do the business and marketing as well. I want to be good at both. Performing an inspection and being really good at marketing, making sure everybody knows that you're the greatest inspector in your area. Okay, so do both. Don't be like this guy. So this is a video of a business and marketing class that I just recently did, and it's on NACHI TV, NACHI.tv. It's a long class, but it's going to be the best hour and a half that you'll invest in your business. Because I make fun of this guy who is not interested, who is going to be in the lower third. He won't be there as a home inspector in the next chapter meeting, right, next year. He won't come to the convention next year. He'll be out of business because he was doing that. If you dedicate 1 hour a night, instead of watching TV, if you add it all up, 1 hour a night, 5 nights a week, by the end of the year, you will have invested over 6 weeks of work into your business without spending any money. You just invested some time. So I highly encourage you to reorganize your thoughts. You do not have any favorite video game anymore. You don't binge on Netflix anymore. You're not watching the House of Cards or Thrones or whatever it is. I don't watch it. I work on my business because I don't want to be that lower third that doesn't make it. So I highly encourage you to start working on your marketing. We talk about business and marketing on podcasts. So we put out 1 or 2 podcast episodes every week. While you're driving, that's a great time to learn something. I put up really good, valuable information. I don't put up crap on our podcast. So while you're driving, don't waste your time. Listen to something. That's at nachi.org/podcast. And step by step, there's a 15 step-by-step process for being successful, and that's at nachi.org/everything. nachi.org/everything. So I would do that as well. I would visit your dashboard, your members only account, member homework assignment, and then I'd go to nachi.org/everything. And by the end of the week, you should be familiar with nachi.org/Florida, that website as well. Okay. I was a home inspector for about a dozen years, performed thousands of inspections. I got to the point where I was doing 2 a day for 4.5 days a week and making a ton of cash. I had a successful business. At the highest, there were 5 of us. We were bringing home each of us about $1,000 gross a day back to the office, and we were just giddy happy. I bought a house, raised a family, had 2 cars, chickens in the back. It was really good. My day wasn't all that bad. I started early and I came home before 5 with $1,000, right? And if you're just starting off, maybe you want to do a Sunday morning inspection and make a couple $100 in cash. That gets you motivated to keep going full time. So you have to figure out what your day is going to look like. My day really started at 8 o'clock. I did a home inspection, a couple hours to do, had lunch in between. 12 o'clock was my next inspection. Dump it all down, and then be home early, right? But you got to leave early and arrive at your job early, or at least never be late, right? Where I come from, if you're on time, you're late. So what you want to do is get there early. And what I like to do is get up on the roof. So at 8 o'clock, my client hopefully sees me on the roof and I wave at them while they pull up into the driveway. That's like the ideal first impression. You only get one shot at giving a really good impression. You either smile at them and shake their hand and give them 5 business cards, or do something like that. Like you're flying a drone, you're on a ladder, you're doing something that's maybe is unexpected. So I like to be on the roof, waving to my, right? You're not required to go up on any roof, unless you're doing like a roof inspection or a wind mitt inspection, things like that. So that's at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, my client arrives. I do a little exterior tour, send them around with me, maybe 5 minutes, just show them the highlights. Then I go back and do it myself because I really want to inspect it, but no more than 15 minutes on the outside. 20, maybe if it's complicated. And I'm trying to get to the big stuff, the heavy lifting stuff, the HVAC, the hot water source, the water supply, the drain, the plumbing, and then I get to the electrical, and then the structure. And then when I get to the attic, I feel like I'm almost done with the home inspection. I can just see the money in my hand, and I'm just going to go through the interior and then get paid. And then I bring a clean shirt in my vehicle, deodorant, breath mints, extra supplies of anything. I'm ready to roll. I wash my hands because I'm going to shake my client's hands at the next job, which is at 12 o'clock. Oh, and I also pack my lunch. I don't stop at McDonald's and get fat on crappy food. Crappy food makes you really good energy, and then it just drops, right? So around 3 o'clock, I don't want to be tired. So you have to make good food and bring it with you because you don't have time or money to spend on crappy food, right? So this is like important stuff. This is called time management. What's your day going to look like? When do you start? I want to start early because I want to beat my competition and I want to come home early, right? So figure out what your day looks like. What do you see? Maybe to beat me in the market, because I'm so busy doing 2 jobs a day, because I want to make $1,000 a day. Maybe you're new and you want to start slow, and you tell your people, your potential clients, your real estate agents, your people who are looking for you, that tell them you're new, and that means I don't have 2 jobs to do today. I don't have 5 jobs to do today like other master inspectors do. They got to keep going. I'm going to spend all day with you, and we'll go nice and slow. Some real estate agents, if you're working with them, like that. First-time home buyers, you got to go slow. Take them through, hold their hand, answer every question, know where to go, right? Maybe that will beat me in the market because I'm on a schedule and you have all day to do one job. Maybe that's what you do in the beginning, or it's really up to you. That's the whole point of me sharing my time schedule with you. Oh, if you see, I'm doing $396 at 11:01. I got $396 plus ancillary inspections. And ancillary inspections are those additional inspections that are pure profit because they don't add more time, but they add value. So you're in Pro Lab headquarters, right? This is what I used to do. I used to charge for swabs, and I'd send it to Pro Lab, and they'd tell me if it was mold or not. So a mold swab. If I'm in the corner of an area near the foundation wall, maybe the gutter is overflowing or spilling, and there's some moisture intrusion, because I can easily see it with my infrared from 10 feet away, and I tap it with my moisture meter and it's wet. And maybe, we talk about mold grows quickly on things. They want a sample or something, I'll do one of these. It's not a, aeroseal, I don't have a pump. It's just one of these, and I charge for it, right? Then if you want to do a mold inspection, there's a standards of practice, there's agreement, you can do all that stuff. I'm trying to add money to, if I'm doing a home inspection, I don't want to do just a home inspection. What a waste. I want to do a home inspection with other stuff that doesn't add to my time, but it adds value and it adds to my gross revenue. And to market that, we did a couple things like this. Let's see, we don't do radon in Florida. It's this, so this is called a rack card because it sits in a rack. And it's about mold. If you want to bundle services, right, to your home inspection, and then you have ancillary additional services, you have to kind of sell it. And a lot of home inspectors are not very good at selling services. So this is where marketing comes in from InterNACHI. InterNACHI's marketing helps inspectors sell services. You can make more money per job. And this one says, I don't even have to, it's like a sales pitch. I don't even have to so I'm in a corner, right? I've got this thing, I did an infrared and moisture meter, right? And I want to say something about, while I'm here, why don't you hire me to do a mold inspection? Here it goes. You can just pull this out and just read from it. It says, mold damages what it grows on, and the longer it grows, the more damage it can cause. Let me inspect your home for mold before expensive problems develop. Boom. You just give them this, let them read it because it has additional information on it. It says, let me inspect your home for mold and the reasons why. You don't have to sell. You just have to see the opportunity for a service that your clients might want, right? Because I think Steve Jobs said it, it's not your client's job to know what they want. That's your job, right? So you should know what your clients might want. Home inspection, 4-point, doing anything else? How about mold? I see mold. Never know. Kind of rainy around here. Maybe they just want you to come back and do a maintenance inspection. Let me come back every year. I'm going to sign you up for a home inspection, right? But I'm also going to sign you up for your next inspection at a huge discount. It's going to be a 30-minute checkup on your home. And we're going to do it for April 15th, tax day, 2020. And I'll see you 1 year from now. And I just want to make sure that your dream home is maintained. Well, I'll come in and I'll give, since you're scheduling it now, I'm gonna discount it. It's usually $200. It's going to be $75, right? Oh, now you're scheduling jobs a year from now. And by that time, you will have hired somebody to do those little jobs for you. Run around and do the home maintenance jobs. They'll make some money and like that, right? So you have to think of business strategies. And it's easy to sell. It's actually easy. Don't feel obligated to hire a call center who's going to sell these jobs for you. I think you're about 90% of the way there. If someone actually has called you on the phone, they know your phone number, they know who you are, they must have some idea that you're a professional inspector, licensed in home inspections or 4 points or roof inspections or wind mits. All you basically have to do is to say the word yes, because they're going to ask, can you do a Florida roof insurance inspection? And you're going to say yes. Let me check my calendar after I get back into the office. But while I have you on the phone, let me just pencil you in right now. That's Saturday, 9 o'clock. Give me your phone number. Okay, I'm going to text it back as a confirmation. Okay, done. Just say yes. It's easy to sell. It's easy to sell. And you're in ProLab, right? Hook up with ancillary services and products that ProLab can help you with. That's where the money is. That's what happens at 11:01. I get paid $396 plus another few $100s on top of that, just by adding a few more minutes and figuring out what my client might need. Are we good? Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to inspect the roof. Remember, it's this house that I'm inspecting. This is the fun part. So I get up on every roof that every roof of a home inspection that I get, according to the standards of practice, SOP. You're not required to walk up on any roof surface, but you're allowed to exceed the standards of practice. So let me see. Hold on. I'm checking my technology on my other side. Okay. The way I inspect a roof, I take a ton of pictures. They're free. I'm walking around with a mobile device that has a fantastic camera. I'm snapping like crazy, snap, 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 snap. And I'm throwing pictures or inserting pictures in my inspection software at the same time. So what I like to do is I take about 50 pictures, maybe 45 pictures about the roof and every roof surface. And then I go for the components. I go in close, like that's the ridge vent. That's a vent pipe, a plumbing vent pipe with flashing around it. That's in good shape. That's the top of the chimney. We have chimneys in cold weather climate. And that's a cap and a screen. That's in good shape. There's flashing where the chimney meets the roof. Anything that penetrates the roof or bumps up against it, I'm right there. I'm trying to see if it's flashed properly. So I'm actually going to pull the siding up and look for step flashing, metal flashing. I shouldn't see a lot of goopy roof sealant that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. It should be clean like that, right? Because silicone is just like a Band-Aid. So anytime you see some kind of sealant applied to a flashing area, it's like a Band-Aid. I'm going to call it out as a defect, unreliable, monitoring recommended. Now I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to remember this when I'm in the attic 2 hours from now. I'm going to remember where this is, and I'm going to look for a roof leak, evidence of a active roof leak, prior roof leak, watermarks, damage. And if I see something there, then I'm going to tag it as a defect. It's probably a roof leak, right? If I don't see anything on the inside, I'll leave it as a monitoring. You should never see sealant in a flashing area. That's a gutter shot. I like to put that shot in every home inspection report that I write. I want to, I'm doing marketing while I'm doing the home inspection. So this is a marketing picture that's going to be inserted in the most important marketing piece that I'm going to create for my business. And that's my report, because I'm hoping that people are going to pass around my report and look. And by the end of the report, it's kind of like a little book about my entire company and my skills. By the end of this story, my inspection report, you should be convinced I'm the best home inspector in the world. So I'm putting pictures like this in the report. I'm also taking it because, well, I can see that the gutter's clean. That's good, and it's fastened properly. It's not damaged, and it's not sealed up. There's no granular surface inside. Looks pretty good, actually. There's my client looking at me. That's an awesome shot. I put that in the report. Now I'm down on the roof. The way I, where did I put my, oh, there it is. So when I'm down on the floor, on the ground, after I get up on the roof, I do the roof inspection, I get down my ladder, and now I'm on the exterior. I'm thinking of the exterior. Maybe my client's there, maybe not, maybe they came late, maybe I'm a little early. I'm gonna do the exterior. And when I'm there, because I'm using mobile software to write my reports, I don't write my reports at night. Hopefully all my competitors do, because they're just wasting their time and energy. I write my reports as I write, so that when I'm done with the roof inspection, I'm done inspecting it, taking pictures of it, and writing that section of the report. I'm done. When I go to the exterior, I'm writing the exterior report section. It's like a chapter of a book. I'm inspecting, gathering information, and inserting it just by click, 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 click. I'm putting it into my best marketing piece. I'm building my best marketing piece while performing a home inspection. That's essentially what you're doing. You want to, I highly encourage you to find software that runs on a mobile device so that you can inspect and write as you inspect. It speeds up your time, and it helps you reduce liability. It helps you not make mistakes. If you can't remember the 12 requirements of the discharge pipe from the TPR valve, you can just look at your device and cheat. Look at the notes. It'll be there. Yeah, okay. That way I can do more jobs. Oh, I did videos as well. So those are videos. And if you're using a certain software, you can upload pictures and video into your reports. We good? I'm gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep looking, see if anyone texts me or yells at me or calls me. Okay, Miranda will Slack me if there's something wrong. Okay. Call out defects when you see a problem. The problem is my clients don't know the difference between a major problem or a little problem, right? A burn in the carpet is a cosmetic defect. It's a blemish, it's a flaw, it's something to look at. I may put it in the report as a courtesy, but what I'm really looking for are the major things. There's the superficial cosmetic stuff. There's minor things like a dirty air filter that could be fixed by the homeowner. There's major defects that are like a hole in the roof, and you need a professional roofer to fix. And then there's the material defect, which is actually described in the standards of practice, and that's the one that can kill you or have a significant adverse impact on the value of the home. Like the home is filled with mold, right? Or the deck is, maybe the deck isn't a good one. The deck is about to collapse. Collapse is imminent, right? Material defect is what is required for you to report if you see it. You're not really required to report upon all the defects. I don't mean not really. I mean, you are not required to find all the defects in the home. Only those defects that you both observe and deem to be big, material, major, right? So if there's a defect behind my the wall there, right, behind the InterNACHI logo, there's a huge hole, let's say, behind that. And later on, my client comes in and they bring their renovators and they pull that thing off and they see a big hole. I'm not responsible for it, because during the time of the inspection, I didn't observe it. I couldn't observe it. I didn't observe. There could be a defect right above my head. If I don't look up and observe it, it's not within the scope of my home inspection. I'm not responsible. That's how clear the standards of practice is. A lot of home inspectors feel like they're obligated. If it was visible, maybe it was visible during the time of the inspection, maybe I should have seen it. Okay, I'll pay for it. And they take responsibility for things they don't even see. That's insane. You'll be out of business real soon. You're only required to report upon defects that you both observe and deem to be material. That's it. Now that you know that, once I realized that, it took me like a couple years to really ingrain in my brain that I'm not responsible for everything. Only the things I'm seeing, and it's got to be really big. Then I have a lot of fun doing home inspections. If you're having a lot of fun doing home inspections, you have a lot of fun and a lot of time, extra time, to work on your business and your marketing. So these definitions are in our glossary, nachi.org/glossary, and you can use them. You're not required to use them. There's only one type of defect you are required to identify and describe, and it's material. And that's the big thing that's going to hurt somebody or have an adverse impact on the value of the home. Okay, 8 a.m. I'm actually done with the roof because I show up early and I do it quickly. I'm also done writing the roof section of the report because I write as I inspect. I write my report as I inspect. And that is that's time management. That's another good idea, right? If you can open up your new phone and get to your software. Maybe I'll show it to you later. And it's also good for business. So the general rule in business is you have a fraction. The top of the fraction, the numerator, is the money, is the gross amount, divided by what? Your time. So you want to make the top part of the fraction really big. You want to increase gross revenue as much as possible. And we actually have a book on that. It's called Stacks, and it's written by my brother, founder of InterNACHI, Nick Gromicko. It's called Stacks because we were talking about stacks of money. So you want to increase gross revenue. There's really good strategies on increasing gross revenue, and there are really good strategies on decreasing the amount of time. So it's money divided by your time. That's why you want to be really cognizant, aware of how much time you're spending, investing on making how much money. If you charge $50 and it takes you 2 hours to make $50, you may have a business model that's going to be challenging, right? After a while, you're going to wear out. So you have to figure out your ratio. How much money can I make in an hour? Let's say it's a billable hour calculation. It has nothing to do with what Dennis does, or Michael does, or any other home inspector does. Kind of, you can ask, how much do you charge? How long does that take? Well, what kind of report do you have any help for me? But it's really based upon math. How much money do you want to make? If you want to make $100,000, that might be your goal. Someone else might want to do $250,000. They want to take home personal income of $250,000. The company needs to make probably $500,000 to get that done, right? So you have to, it's all about math, really. How much money do you want to make? What's your overhead? And how much profit margin do you want to make on every inspection? 20% profit margin is a good idea. That'll give you a little vacation. Maybe something bigger you want to do. You want to increase gross revenue, real big fat top divided by a real small denominator. Squeeze your time. And one of the best ways to squeeze your time, so you're not wasting a lot of time per inspection, is to use these mobile devices. This is the best idea that has come out. Writing your reports as you inspect. I don't work at night, right? On my reports. Okay. Looking good. Yeah, okay. 8:15, I'm doing the exterior inspection. I'm looking at like screens with holes in them. I know I'm going to get a call. I might as well just put it in a report. It's going to take me 30 seconds to put that in a report, and it's going to save me many minutes and headaches later if I don't put it in a report. I'm looking at water, steps, stoops. I'm looking at doorways, anything that has some different materials connecting with each other, a vinyl siding with brick. I'm taking a look at that area, looking underneath things. I wear knee pads when I'm doing the home inspection. The siding looks good on this house. Looks good, it's vinyl siding. And then I'm doing the exterior system, but I bump into other systems, which is no big deal. On software, you just choose which system you're now on. Now I'm doing electrical. This is the electrical meter. This is what they look like in Pennsylvania. I try to actually pull the meter off. If it comes off in my hand, I take a picture of it and put it in a report. Like if you damage anything, if I grab that downspout there and it falls apart because it's not riveted or secured or fastened to the house and it falls apart in my hand, if I crush one of those soft brass, chrome plated P-traps underneath an old sink, right? And it crushes in my, because I squeeze them, because it's cool when it crushes. If I use my screwdriver and I poke the cast iron drain pipe, that's what we've got. We got a lot of cast iron in the north. And my screwdriver goes through the pipe. Oh, if there's wood rot on a windowsill and my screwdriver goes into the wood rot, I take a picture of it. I never hide anything, you know? So if it breaks in my hand, that's essentially what you're there to do. You're there to do damage. You're there to report upon damage that you have found, right? And don't take any responsibility for it. That wood rot was there. You just found it. You stuck your screwdriver in it and you found it. If I open and close a garage door and the panel wheel falls off, I'm not buying that panel wheel. It's a good thing I'm there. So I'm expecting somebody to pat me on the back when something breaks in my hand during a home inspection, because that's my job. And that's actually a legal opinion from InterNACHI's legal counsel, and we wrote an article on that about doing damage during an inspection. That's your job. So don't freak out. If you turn on the dishwasher and it leaks all over the floor, take a picture of it, put in a report. I still remember filling up a Whirlpool tub, second floor, master bathroom. No one ever used it. No one ever uses them. Filled up the Whirlpool tub, drained it, and then I heard a lot of yelling downstairs because the pipe was never installed. The drain pipe was never installed. It was just dumping water into the kitchen. And it just destroyed a lot of things, including my computer. But I didn't pay anybody for that damage. So where am I? Electrical. Service line coming in. There's an electrical checklist that we have on InterNACHI, and you can just put it in your software and just go through the checklist and make sure you don't, make any mistakes or miss anything. There's a water faucet. There's a water meter sensor on the outside. And now I'm back to the exterior. I'm looking at the grating and the siding, exposed foundation. I'm looking at big holes or cracks, big holes or cracks. I mean, if you really want to get technical about determining cracks and holes, we actually have a like a crack ruler for foundations. So you can put this up against the crack and take a picture of it, like you measured it, or you can get a quarter. I like quarter, and go on edge. If a quarter goes through the crack, I'm gonna call it out. We need something done with that, especially if it's load-bearing foundation. If it's a crack in the garage carport, forget it. I'm not. If it's part of the house foundation and there's a crack and it's large enough for a quarter to go through sideways, I'm gonna call it out. That's a deck guard with spindles, and the space between the spindles is more than 4.5 inches apart. Code nowadays makes it tighter because kids were falling through the space in between the spindles, and we thought it was so important we put it in the standards of practice. So check out the spindle spacing, right? If you see something that's big, call it out. Put it as a defect. Put it as a major defect. Don't hide it. It's not a cosmetic issue. It could probably save someone's life, a little kid's life maybe. Maybe your client doesn't have children, it's okay. Just put it in the report anyways. Call a defect, especially if you see it and measure it. Now, I worked with a lot of real estate agents, and they used to say things like, well, it's grandfathered. When this home was built, that was okay. The code, what does the code say back then, right? And I would not pay any attention to that. How I inspected, this is my personal opinion, how I inspected a home regardless of age. It could be a brand new home, or it could be a home that's 50 years old. A home should be built to code at the time that it was built. If it was built 50 years ago, that's the code that it was acceptable back then, right? But it's no longer acceptable. And code changes usually because it's a safety issue. They found a better way, it's more efficient, or someone got hurt. Like fire codes, unfortunately, get changed because firefighters tend to get hurt in their dangerous job. So what you want to do is not care if the home is 50 years old or brand new. I don't care what the age is, that's a defect. Because you're not a code inspector. And you are simply writing your opinion. And that kind of relieves the burden so that you can have fun during the inspection. right? Now you don't have to find all the problems. You're not a code inspector, and you don't care when the home was built, right? Now, if you're doing like wind mitts and you have to identify when the roof was installed in accordance to date, I know there's some issues, right, where you have to absolutely pay attention to the date, the installation date, maybe the permit date, maybe the date that the home was built, etc. But in a general home inspection, date and year doesn't even appear in the standards of practice, right? And so when you're looking for defects, have that in mind, that I don't care when the home was built. If this home was built brand new, that's a defect. And it's also a defect. It's a safety issue. It doesn't matter when that home was built. Keep that in mind. That is a clogged dryer vent. I can see the lint pushing through the louvers. So the louvers there on the sunny side of the home, that plastic component tends to bend and warp and get stuck, and it won't open with the force of the exhaust fan from the dryer. And so it just clogs up. So I've got a fire hazard. I'm so happy because, you know, after you do many years of home inspections, you're looking for a problem like this. It's kind of fun. And so it comes to another thing. How do you present a defect? I'm usually smiling because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And if I find a major defect, I present it to my client with a smile. And the agents kind of like it too, because there's hardly anything, what I realize is there's hardly anything you could say to kill a deal. You may hear that criticism from the real estate community, but it's not correct. Home inspectors don't kill deals. You know how difficult it is to kill a deal with a home inspection report? You got to say some crazy stuff for that to happen, because your client has gone through an enormous amount of effort to find the home. They've gone online, they found a real estate agent, they met with a real estate, they've been traveling with the real estate, they've seen a ton of homes, they found a neighborhood, they found a school system, they got pre-approved with the loan, they went through the home already, they signed a contract, they signed an offer, the offer was accepted, you're now there. It's like they've gone through all this stuff. All they want to know from you is, are there any major problems that would restrict me from buying this home? I mean, I'm looking at it, it looks pretty good. You, the inspector, is there anything I should know? Last minute, is there anything? And hardly anything. This is no big deal. It's a fire hazard. It's got to be done immediately. In fact, I would tell the homeowner, don't turn on the dryer until that's cleaned up. But no big deal. It's hard, it can hardly say. So don't soft punch a defect. If you see a defect and it's a fire hazard, call it out. There's the deck. There's a crack in the foundation and it was sealed with some kind of foam. That is not the right sealant to use when you're binding two pieces of concrete together. So we need an epoxy sealant, structural sealant that puts two pieces of concrete together. And there's some steps there. Has a handrail, that's good, but they're tilted. So steps shouldn't be tilted. I can just imagine an old grandmother or something trying to get up those steps and the steps are slanted and she keeps going to the right. And actually, there's code about all that. Like the steps can't be slanted, right? Even this way, the treads can't even be sloped too much. And handrails are required. Code says for stairways with 4 or more risers, 4 or more. That's like insane. 4 or more. The code, right, is wrong. And I'm a home inspector, so we can say that. I'm not a code inspector. Imagine 4 steps. There has to be 5 risers, essentially, with 4 or more risers. Oh, 4. 4 risers, 4 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, before a handrail is. So if there's 3 steps, that's like that's 2 feet, almost 2 feet up on the ground. A person with a disability, person who needs some help, person with a bad leg, bad foot, who has an injury, just came home from the hospital, something like that. 3 steps is impossible to get up 3 steps without a handrail. So code is wrong. So I don't care I know what the code says, and I'm not battling any contractor about the code. I'm a home inspector, so I can recommend every riser has a handrail. And that's how I was. And you could reference code if you wanted to, but we're not code inspectors. So this is my classic example. 3 risers, I want a handrail. According to code, this house was built according to code back then. Oh, really? It's grandfathered. Oh, and the modern code says you have to have 4 risers before you get a handrail. Oh, I don't care. I'm going to call it out. That's a defect. Okay. And the steps I'm inspecting are slanted. And I don't do arrows on my pictures. I don't have time for arrows and circles and text and all that stuff. This is my arrow. I'm using my hand just to make sure that, you know, it's slanted that way. Here's an outdoor compressor unit. I don't know if it's an air conditioner or a heat pump. It's basically the same thing. Heat pump goes in 2 different directions. I can take a picture of the model number, manufacturing number, the date, the size is there too. There's a buildingcenter.org, building-center.org. It was down over the weekend. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know who runs it, but let's see if it's on. You can put in the model number of any unit, and yep, it's still down. So website is currently under maintenance. Please try again. It was a really good website. Hope they come back. So you can enter the model number and get the exact date of the manufacturing date. That was kind of cool. And also tells you recalls. So yeah, if you're interested in free recall information, that website used to have it. Maybe it'll be back up by the end of the day. There's the electric disconnect. There's some damage on the fins. I don't really care about that unless it's excessive, like that. So I take a lot of pictures. This is the exterior. Remember, it's only about 15 minutes. I mean, the inspection of the heat pump unit there was maybe a minute, 30 seconds. I like to take pictures of that, put my truck in the report. I park my truck on the street and allow my clients the privilege of the driveway. Just a little tidbit, marketing tip there. So the rest of the exterior is doing well. All receptacles should be GFCI protected. 8:15, I'm done with the exterior. I'm going in for the big stuff. HVAC, hot water source, water supply, water coming in, water going out, and plumbing in general. And there's the unit there. I remember what I saw on the outside. Coming in, I can see it's a heat pump. Refrigerant lines, manufacturing label. Some, like Texas, requires home inspectors to actually take the delta T measurements, air going in and conditioned air coming out, and see if there's a temperature difference. I never did that. It wasn't required to, so I just used my hand. Make sure it actually changes temperature. You can use infrared. You can use a laser thermometer. Not much to look at, although sometimes I'll grab an 11-in-1 combination screwdriver and use one of the fittings to take off the front cover and just peek at the A coil. I love taking a look at that and then put it right back. No one knows. This one's clean. I don't see any rust, so we're good. Condensate pump, and the discharge tube. Air filter location. So my client is with me, and you know, it's 2 for 1. So I'm not just alone doing an inspection. I would love my client to be with me. I can show them how to find the air filter, maintain the unit, tell them how it works, answer any questions. And that actually helps me months later, because if my client is with me, they're not going to call me on the phone and talk with me for an hour going through the report and asking questions. I want them to do all that with me while I'm doing the inspection, because I'm efficient with my time. I want to manage my time. I don't want to take phone calls later. It's all plugged in. It's looking good. Let's see. Okay. This is actually a humidifier. You don't need it. Cold climates, wintertime, gets dry. Need to humidify the air. That's a tee off to the probably the refrigerator water line. There's the humidifier. I take a picture of the service label. Anything that hasn't been serviced and cleaned within the last year, defect. And I put it in the report as a recommendation. There's the electric line coming to the heat pump. It's like a big toaster oven in the heat pump. Got some extra baseboard heaters. I touch it, make sure it livens up. And then the hot water source. Now the hot water tank, we have a checklist on how to inspect a hot water tank. It's a very short checklist. This is going to take me about a minute. That's all I'm going to dedicate to this system. And what I do is I take a picture of the system, and then I move in close, and I touch every component. And I take a picture of it and looking for a defect, right? And I do the same process for every hot water tank, on and on. Same thing for every home. Every home is the same way, because if there's a problem with the TPR valve, it like jumps out at me. So perform your inspections with this routine inspection process that is the same, so that when something is different, it almost trips you. So the hot water tank manufacturing label is there, cold water going in, TPR valve discharged to the floor, and the 14 requirements for, I think it's 14 requirements for the TPR discharge pipe is in the code. I don't have to remember them. One of them is it has to discharge within the same room. One of them is you have to discharge it to the floor, not all the way at the floor, but near it. Another one is the TPR valve discharge pipe has to be sloped downwards. A defect TPR valve discharge pipe would be one that discharges vertically up, excuse me. So this TPR discharge pipe is good. Water supply, water coming in, shutoff valve, check, pressure, water meter, jumper, done. On to the next thing. Drain waste plumbing, clean out pipe. I like to find the clean out. It's made out of PVC, that's 4-inch, that's good. Electrical, you're not required to remove the dead front cover. If you want to, go ahead, but you're not required to. It's hazardous. I recommend not doing it. I got some breakers in the off position. Prior to me touching it, I'm going to take an inspection picture of it, put it in the report, ask the homeowner to explain why this breaker is off. All breakers need to be specifically identified. I remove the dead front, looking for basically the main problem that I look for, that's fun to look for, is, well, a dead mouse. But the other thing would be a big fat breaker on a very thin very thin wire. So like a 20 amp breaker on a very thin 14 gauge wire, right? That was a common thing. And these double taps I don't like very much too. So that's the breaker there, I can't do that. Oh, there and there, they're double tapped, right? That one. So I want to see what the label says. And those breakers are off because there aren't even any wires connected to it. So I'll delete that comment. Everything else looks good. So I got 2 breakers that are defects. I'm going to have an electrician come and double check my work. Further evaluate. I always put further evaluate in my report, because I want the contractor following up my recommendations to look around while they're there, look around for other defects that I probably didn't see, because I'm not an electrician. I'm not saying that I am either. I'm just looking for some stuff that are obvious to me as a home inspector, right? And of course, when the electrician says, oh, your home inspector missed this, I say, of course I did. I'm not an electrician. Doorbell ringer, GFCI, it's all look good. Oh, cool, Miranda. I see some pictures of me. That's awesome. That looks good. So I'm doing the structure, poured concrete foundation with a basement. Very strange thing in where you are probably. And I'm just looking for big cracks and water intrusion through the cracks. I see a crack and it's been patched. That's good. Floor joists, insulation. Insulation's this way and that way. I'm going to call it out. There's these pictures in my report because I've been sued before. No big deal. Taking the small claims. You win in about 5-10 minutes if you got your stuff organized. You need an agreement before you even step on the property. You need an agreement signed, and InterNACHI has an online agreement system that you can do that. send your agreement. As soon as you say yes, send the agreement to your client and they can sign it on their phone and send it back to you, download it as PDF, print it out, bring it to the inspection, make sure that they understand that they signed that agreement, and then get paid. Where was I? Oh, I got sued because somebody thought I was supposed to see everything, right? And so these pictures are for documenting the condition of the home at the time of the inspection, because this is all going to get cleaned out by the seller who's selling the home. And when somebody cleans something out, they're going to reveal some things. And then there's that last walkthrough. When you buy a home, just before you sign on the line, the bank allows you to go through the home one more time, one last time. It's called the walkthrough. And I loved to be invited to those walkthroughs, right? We used to charge for them, and then we just gave them away for free if I had some extra time. It was very special. And we had those clients forever and those real estate agents forever by doing that. So you may want to give like a free walkthrough for every home inspection if you're starting off. That's kind of a cool thing. I never discounted my home inspection. I hated that. But I'll do a free walkthrough. You know, I'll spin by just before, you know, you sign on the line at the most critical moment and look for things that weren't readily visible at the time of the inspection. And if there is, make an addendum to the report. Oh, that's such an amazing thing, such a great service. It's hardly ever done, something untapped in the market. A lot of inspection restrictions like drop ceiling tiles, water meters, water sensor. This is an extendable, they still sell it. InspectorCoach.com sells them. It's a hydrometer. You probe through it, like probe through the carpeting and the padding to see if there's water in the substrate material. Oh, Inspector Coach, there it is, InspectorCoach.com. InspectorCoach.com is Alicia. She's a coach. She helps home inspectors figure out where they are, set some goals, and make a customized plan to reach those goals. It's really good. But you don't have to, you've got plenty of resources. What I would do is go to InspectorCoach.com and download the free, it's called 8 Steps to Success for home inspectors, right? And it's a free download. It's a checklist. And you go through and it helps you assess where you are. And it identifies holes or gaps where you need to work on, right? Weaknesses that you need to strengthen. So InspectorCoach.com and download the free 8 steps. Smoke detectors, the basement was finished. I'm gonna blow through the basement. Inspection restrictions, this is a great picture. Can't see everything. I mean, it's just filled. And then I'm in the attic. And when I get to the attic, oh, I feel like I'm almost there. I'm almost in the kitchen where I'm gonna end and collect my $500, $600, $700. Can't really see anything, because there's no flooring. So you're not required to walk upon roof rafters and you're not a circus performer. It's very dangerous. I've fallen through, not all the way, my leg went through a ceiling because I slipped off of a rafter in an attic. So don't do that. I know the dangers, but take pictures while you're up there, approximate the depth of the insulation and look for major structural problems. The trusses aren't supposed to be cut. If you're doing a wind mitt, you're looking at other components that are not part of a general home inspection, but you can include it, right? You can do a home inspection, a wind mitt, and a 4-point. Laundry, basic thing I'm looking for is that clogged dryer vent. 2.5 hours ago, on the outside of the home, we saw a clogged dryer vent, and there it is. I'm on the 2nd floor laundry, and that's where that clogged dryer vent was. It's a metal vent pipe, looks really good. Not kinked, not plastic, no scorching, no melting, but on the outside, you can see it was clogged. Pressure tested hoses, that's good. Now laundry receptacles need to be GFCI protected. And I'm inspecting the interior. In the interior, the catchy phrase is representative number. So it's a representative number of windows, doors, representative number of wall receptacles. And then the bathrooms, it's basically flush the toilet, run the sink, run the shower, run the tub. There's a S-trap, it's kind of fun. P-trap on another one. GFCI protection for all the bathroom receptacles. While I'm in the bathroom, second floor bathroom, I take a look out the window and a second look at the skylights. I run water at all the fixtures and see what happens to the shower. If there's low flow at the shower, it's not functional flow, I'll put it in the report as a defect. Further evaluation by a plumber. There's my hand there, making sure left is hot, right is cold. Looking at the tiles where the tub meets the floor, usually in the corner there's some water damage. I use the side of my leg to shimmy the toilet. If it moves, that's a damaged wax seal, and I put it in as a defect. Open and close the door. Exhaust fan should be going outside, terminating outside. Windows, doors, receptacles, any yellow smoke detector is a detector that should be replaced. Flushing the master toilet, tub, shower. More pictures, GFCI protection, bathroom fan exhausting outside. I have a restriction comment that I can't determine where this is actually going, but it turned on. If there's a plumbing access panel that I can open up, great. If it's sealed shut, I don't do it, but I put it in the report. I like to see the plumbing access panel removed. And sometimes you see a water leak that no one knows about, which is kind of cool, which is the reason why you open it up. It takes 10 seconds. And sometimes it's a really cool find. Other pictures, I really don't care if the closet door bumps into the bedroom door, cosmetic kind of thing. Remember, I'm just looking for material defects, major defects, things that hurt people. Checking the railings, the guards, the handrails on the steps. Half bath on the first floor, sink, GFCI, fan. That's it. Fireplace. Remember the fireplace? Well, if you're going to inspect a fireplace, you're required by standards of practice to open and close a damper door. And I see also that there's soot, and it's shiny, so that's creosote. And that's a different kind of soot. That's the creosote catches on fire if it gets hot enough. And then the whole chimney is a torch. So I'm gonna have that cleaned and serviced by a chimney sweep. The interior looks good. Some cracking in the back, kind of minor. Take a picture of the plate. That's okay. Receptacles. I'm working my way to the kitchen because that's where I get paid. So I'm going through the interior. I'm not blowing it off, but I'm going through it at a good clip. I'm doing representative number of things. Interior keyed deadbolts make an emergency exit impossible. That's a hazard. I got a garage with a big car garage door. I'm going to open and close it with the button. Make sure it goes back and forth. There's actually 10 steps. There's a 10-step checklist. It's in our free online interior course. 10 steps to inspect a garage door opener. We do not recommend grabbing the bottom of the door and auto reversing. That's a physical auto reverse. We like the non-contact auto reverse, and that's in the checklist. This is a fire hazard too. The firewall is breached. So there should be drywall on the ceiling and the walls that are not penetrated with openings. If you see an opening like this, that was probably installed by the builder back then or the homeowner to get more storage space above the garage and inside the garage attic, but it's actually a breach of the firewall. And all the seams of the drywall should be sealed, twice taped. Now I'm in the kitchen. I end there. You don't have to end there. Some inspectors begin there. I kind of like end there because coffee is there, it smells good, and everyone likes food and things like that. Move the island. Some islands have tipped over and have fatally injured little kids. So you want to move that island with your hip or shake it. Run hot and cold water at the sink. Turn on the garbage disposal. I wipe the bottom of the trap and the bottom of the valve with my hand to see if it's wet. GFCI protection, there's me testing the island to see if it's secured to the floor. That island should have a GFCI. All other GFCIs work. I turn the dishwasher on. We have another checklist if you want to get really into detail about the, I don't know. I guess I'm still on. People are telling me I'm off. If I'm off, I don't know. Okay, so the dishwasher's running. Stove, oven, draft fan, exhaust fan, and then a summary with my client. Oh, to end it. Oh, yeah, you could tell me. Yeah, you have to interrupt me. Miranda and everybody, you have to tell me to stop. So there's my report summary, and I can print out the entire report because I actually bring my printer to every home inspection if my client wants to have the printout. And then 1101, I swipe a card, and hopefully I'm making 500 in order to make $1,000 that day. And I'm on to my next inspection. And
Hey,
if you
Ben,
want to look through my entire inspection report, I'll have it available to you. All you got to do is email me, ben@internachi.org, and I can share the entire slides with you.
All right. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.